From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Happy holidays. Welcome to Local Point. As you know, the snow has started to fly in the basin. It's cold outside and the snow is starting to pile up. And when that happens, it's time to break out the shovel or plow. But what do you do with all of it? That's the topic of today's show. Joining me in the studio is Glade Allred, the street superintendent of Vernal City.
Hello, Chris.
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, it's always good to have you here. One of my favorite people, and today we've got lots and lots of information that our viewers are really going to appreciate. Now let's talk a little bit about this. One of the things that you do, one of the many hats you wear, is pertaining to snow removal.
Yes.
And it's time. We've got snow to remove.
It is the season. Yep.
Well, we've got, let's just take it this way. What are some of the most common questions that you get from the city's point of view and a person who oversees snow removal for the city? What are people asking?
One of the questions is of course, why do you have to put it in my driveway? That's always that has to be the number one. Why does it have to be in my driveway? Obviously, and the answer to that is we have to get it off the road in the most cost-efficient manner. And the side of the road obviously is the most efficient. To haul it all the way would be very expensive, and would necessitate a tremendous amount of equipment, time, man hours. We get it off the side of the road, and the most cost efficient is to have each individual property owner take care of the snow in front of their driveway.
Right, right.
And that's probably the number one complaint. Number two is why can't we have bare pavement? Why can't we be out there sooner and bare pavement? Obviously, it all again comes back to budget impact. Our attempt is not for dry roads, but for good traction for vehicles and pedestrians. And that's what we attempt at.
And that's your overall
that's
mission
overall
statement,
mission,
isn't it?
basically.
Make the roads safe for pedestrians and vehicles.
That's correct.
And that may warrant blading, or it may warrant sand, or it may just be safe with a certain degree of snow on there.
Exactly. And that's what we have done. Our policy actually calls out that anytime there is 3 to 4 inches of snow and it's going to continue snowing, then it has to get to that point before we actually start plowing. There might be 4 inches of snow on the road, and if it's going to be warm temperatures the next day, we won't plow that. We'd rather melt it off the road and keep it out of the driveways. Right. But if it's going to turn 20 below zero, we're going to plow it and get it off the road. So it's temperature driven as well as amount. Now,
do you have a set route, or is there a way to say, well, there's a greater need over here, we're going to start there, or how do you tackle that?
The routes really vary by storm and the time of day. For instance, the things that are important at 6 o'clock in the morning are going to be the schools and the major intersections for that way. If the storm comes in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not the schools. The schools are out and the storm is just getting started. It's our downtown business area. Right. If it's the middle of the night, then it might be subdivisions. So it really depends on the time of day, the type of storm. So it really varies that way.
These people really know what they're doing. You've got a plan for everything.
We hope.
Let me go back to that now. The sand, because sometimes you do put sand.
Correct.
Now, when do you use sand?
We basically, and one of the things we do, if it's in the middle of the night, the storm comes in, we want people to call in if they're aware of slick areas.
Okay.
It helps us. We obviously aren't up all night long, and so whether
with your binoculars looking for the snow,
whether they call in and make us aware of it, they would call Central Dispatch and let them be aware of a dangerous intersection. Dispatch will call us, and we'll get a truck out there.
But you make an assessment then,
we make an assessment,
snow
piece by
or
piece.
Sand.
The police officers are out there and watching, and they let us know what's going on, and exactly if we can sand and salt and melt it off the road, we try to do that.
Salt too. I forgot about the salt.
And a lot of people say, why do you have to use the salt? Because it rusts my car. And well, because that's the most cost-effective way to get the melting process to go.
Right.
And salt's only effective down to about 10 above zero. If it gets colder than that, salt is ineffective.
I'm learning all kinds of things today. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other things that you deal with, some things that our viewers may be interested in knowing that will help them when we come back from this break. We're going to take a quick break and listen to Ashley Regional Medical Center right now, and we'll be right back.
If this were a lump in your breast, it could be cancer. and you wouldn't be able to feel it from inside or out. But there's a new technology that can see cancerous lumps at their earliest, most curable stages. It's technology that's helping save women's lives. It's called digital mammography. It can find a tumor years before you can feel it. Call Ashley Regional Medical Center to learn more and to schedule your appointment.
From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome back to Local Point, brought to you by Ashley Regional Medical Center. We're talking with Glade Allred, who is employed by Vernal City, and the Superintendent of Streets. What a cool title that is.
Oh, hey.
Especially when there's snow on the streets.
Yes, let it snow, let it snow.
All right, now, once we've got the snow there, we talked a little bit about the plowing part of it. Let's talk about the residents. What do we do? I mean, are we required, first of all, to get the snow
They are.
off?
Residents are required by a city ordinance to clean off the sidewalks in front of their home within 24 hours after the cessation of the storm.
Ah, all right. So if it keeps snowing, then there's a little bit of leeway there. But once it stops, you got 24 hours to get it off.
You need to have it off within 24 hours.
All right. And you mentioned something to me off camera that I thought was very interesting. Where do we put that snow?
In the first place, don't put it back into the street. We've asked very please. We work very hard to get it off the roads, and there's always a temptation to shove it back out in the street.
If you've got a little plow, don't
That's
plow
right.
it back into the road.
Tremendous liability you take on yourself when you do that, whether it be an accident. Where we ask you to put that is as you come out the driveway, don't put it on the upstream side, but rather as you face the road, put it on the downstream side or the right-hand side.
I'm in my driveway facing the road. I put it on the right.
On the right. If you think of the traffic passing your house, it's the downstream side.
The plow
as that
comes
traffic
this
passes.
way. They aren't plowing all that snow back.
Then they're not going to shove it right back in your driveway.
That's great.
If you put it on the
never
left-hand
thought of that.
side, then the plow has a potential to push it right back in your driveway. We don't want to do that.
Don't want to add to that
Exactly.
number one complaint that you get.
We try very hard. I know that's frustration, and the council's been very supportive, and we built snow restrictors. We have them on most all of our plows, and that's simply a door that's either hydraulically or air actuated that will close and will hold a large amount of that snow as we pass the driveway, and then release it on the other side. All right. And that works, to help. It's not a perfect world, but it helps.
Right. Well, that's interesting. So now driveway. And of course, I'm okay to put it on my lawn. I think that's what most of us do, right?
Especially, especially if you get out there before weaving by with salting and all, and get it. Then put it on the lawn.
Put it on the lawn. But once you get out there towards that and clearing that banker that forms from the plow, put it over on the right side. That's great. Now, what about the sidewalk? Are we responsible for the sidewalk too?
You are responsible for the sidewalk. You're talking the sidewalk in front, right?
In front of our residents.
Yes, the sidewalk in front.
Or business. What about that?
That's right. And in front of the sidewalk in front of your home or business, that's what I was mentioning, within 24 hours after the cessation of the storm.
Right. So it's not required to be removed from the driveway.
Your driveway's up to you.
That's up to you.
That's up to you what you do. But what we're talking about there is
the sidewalk or the walkway in front.
The public right-of-way sidewalk.
Okay, that makes
Correct.
sense. How about the gutter? Is there any
There's nothing really says there. We try to not stack the snow too tight to the gutter because we want it to be able to, on the days it melts, it'd be able to flow. And residents can help that if they'll walk out and just kind of, as it starts to flow, open that a little bit. Or if you live on a corner, help open up the gutter heads. Keep so that the water that's flowing can have a place to go. Those kind of things.
Are there any other don'ts?
Leaving vehicles parked in front of your home for long periods of time. There's many times we've come real close to wiping out a vehicle because to us it was just a large pile of snow.
Right.
And you don't know it's a little VW Bug or it's a snowmobile trailer with two snowmobiles on it.
But those actually have to be moved anyway frequently, or they're considered abandoned, I think.
As far as the law, they're not supposed to be left there in one place more than 72 hours.
Right.
And so they should be moving on a regular basis.
And you can tell that if it's buried in deep snow, I guess.
Yes, you can. And watch for children playing. We've had instances where our plows have nearly plowed into a pile only to have children come out of that, out of a little cave they build in that pile out in the road.
Oh, that's scary.
It just scares us to death. So watch, keep your kids from sliding down those piles. They'll get on the piles and they'll slide out into the street.
Right.
They're just not a safe place
It's
for
not a
kids,
safe place for kids to play. Well, thank you, Glade, for joining us, as always. This is a very informative program. After our chat today, I guess we can just sing it, right? Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, or now we know where the snow all should go, right?
Exactly. Very good.
All right. I'm Chris Piner, and we thank you for watching.